Tyson Fury versus Oleksandr Usyk was damage limitation. The press conference, I mean, that was pure damage limitation. Now, I need to explain myself here. That press conference was like watching a UFC 30 press conference all those years ago. That was the least professional thing I've ever seen in my whole entire life. That's boxing, apparently, at the highest level. I wouldn't say that's boxing at the highest level. I would say that's pathetic. What we watched yesterday was pathetic. Tyson Fury obviously has to sell the fight because, let's face facts here, Usyk couldn't sell you anything. Usyk can't sell himself as a boxer. He's boring and nobody wants to tune in. He's a very, very good boxer, very, very entertaining to watch, but he can't sell a fight. And he's not even a good opponent. He can't even play the good guy and Tyson Fury play the heel. He doesn't understand. He just doesn't understand it. I don't understand how boxing fans can look at that and go, well, I I'm really rooting for Usyk here, or I'm really rooting for him to even lose. Who cares? I don't care if Usyk wins or lose. It doesn't make a difference to me. Alexander Usyk really is born. I'm not going to lie to you. His personality's born. He's dry. He doesn't get me invested in the fight. Tyson Fury does though, regardless of what you think about Tyson Fury. But what I witnessed there last night was complete damage limitation. If I'm fighting a guy like Tyson Fury, right, and he had a fight, his previous fight. Now, I have to state this, they could have actually spoke about this. I got about 10, 15 minutes into the press conference, and I actually had to turn it off because I was that bored. I was just listening to Tyson Fury say sausage every other word and God loves him and blah blah blah, all that stuff that, those people say, those boxers say, and those fighters say. Really, really boring. Nothing original, right? I think even Tyson Fury stole a line off Muhammad Ali, which I thought, that was pure cringe, and I was actually going to walk away there and then. I was just going to turn off the thing there and then. So, Usyk bored me. Tyson Fury, he was trying to sell the fight, but there was nothing original coming out of his mouth. And I thought to myself, and maybe Usyk did say this, but up until this point, Usyk didn't say anything about Francis Ngannou. If I'm fighting Tyson Fury, and that person, or anybody for that matter, and their previous fight was with a guy who was not in boxing and fought my opponent, who is considered the greatest heavyweight boxer of this generation. He calls himself the greatest heavyweight boxer of all time. And that not boxer that came from MMA, that was known in MMA for telegraphing punches, went the distance and arguably beat my opponent. That would be one of the first things that I would bring up, because that would be rife ammunition. Now, it doesn't take a rocket scientist to figure out that Alexander Usyk, his first language isn't English, but he would know that that would be good ammunition. Now, this is why it wasn't brought up. This is why it wasn't brought up from the get-go. It could have been brought up at the end. As I say, I didn't give it the respect to watch it the full way through. They might have brought something up like that, right? So forgive me for speaking out of turn, but here's why the emphasis, I'll say, wasn't put on Francis Ngannou. Because you need to look at Alexander Usyk's face during the Francis Ngannou Tyson Fury fight. He was worried that Tyson Fury was going to get beat. They understand that boxing has been exposed here. So why would Alexander Usyk and other boxers put more emphasis on Francis Ngannou, a guy who's now, okay, he's got one loss in boxing, but arguably beat the greatest heavyweight boxer of our generation? Why would he put emphasis on that? Because then he's further exposing his own sport. Does that make sense? So even he's embarrassed that the Francis Ngannou fight went the way it went. But that was a boring press conference, guys. I really have to stress this. That actually, I'll go on to say that that was absolutely fucking shit. I'm not at the edge of my seat. I don't particularly care who wins now, and I don't care about either person's god. I care about selling the fight. You need a good guy and you need a heel. Tyson Fury showed up to be the heel. Alexander Usyk says, I'm going to let my talking happen in the ring. Well, unfortunately, by the time you get to the ring, two people will be tuning in to watch it. Obviously, that's an exaggeration, but not as many people are going to tune in to watch that fight because your lack of collaboration with Tyson Fury. He showed up. He wanted to play his part as the heel, and you should have played your part as the good guy. I don't care if your language is Ukrainian first and English second. You had a translator there that could have had a good back and forth. Bring up the Ngannou thing a lot more. Bring up how you're going to beat him. You know, even if you're going to be over enthusiastic about it and even lie, do something that's going to draw in an audience. That was bollocks. That was the worst press conference I've ever seen in my whole entire life. That is boxing exposed, and that is damage limitation because both guys were sitting there in shock. Tyson Fury's still in shock, and so is Oleksandr Usyk. He's sitting there and he's going, I'm sitting beside a guy that is considered the greatest heavyweight boxer of our generation. He's calling himself the greatest boxer of our generation, but he's just being beat by a guy, Francis Ngannou. Obviously, they give it to Tyson Fury. They had to, but realistically, morally, if this was on the streets or if this was, you know, anywhere else, Tyson's head would be on a stick, and Ngannou would be the king. He would be the undisputed heavyweight boxing champion of the world. And we're sitting here and we have to at least sell the fight. If you aren't going to sell that this is David and Goliath, he brought up something like that, David and Goliath, right? We've heard that story a million times before. We don't want to hear that story again. I want to see, and I know Usyk's a good boxer. I've watched a few of his boxing matches, and I know Tyson Fury's a good boxer. I've seen him fight. But what was Usyk's role yesterday? There was no point of him even showing up. He should have just sat in the car, stayed there, and just give Tyson Fury the mic, and he could have sold the fight. It would have been better. The press conference would have been better if Oleksandr Usyk had sat in that car, and then Tyson Fury would have had ripped him for sitting in the car saying that he's scared. More people would tune in to see the fight, and more people would buy that fight. Now they're not, because nobody cares, because it was an absolutely shit press conference. And that's what I've got to say on the matter. Peace out.